Very oriented.
That was part of my shot. Paul Ernest, he's a photographer from Texas. He's a photo illustrator. And then this one. Yeah. I was putting lights and setting them up.
I had text.
Yeah, I have 5 more crystals. Oh, is she really? But you guys were able to release already. Well, girl does what she can. There's some girls that they run. Yeah, watch out. Good luck.
Joe's gonna stand up so much where she falls first. To dust the hands and take that. You in for that? You in for that? No, I think it's all. Yeah, maybe.
The other day I walked. That's the problem. The fields on the About 6 floors. I got laughed. It's the first time in my life I've ever been to a pool.
I know that feeling.
I'd like to call the meeting, September 12th for the Parks Commission. Township Parks Commission. Stands today.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Questions?
Here.
Letterman? Here. Monson?
Here.
Peterson?
Here.
Oliver?
Here.
Martin? Here. Warren? Stay here. Here. Welcome to board.
We try this our first time at consent agenda. Does anybody want to bring anything out there? Consent agenda. Yeah, I guess.
I need to add Hamilton Coping to the agenda. So you,
Where's that gonna go?
under new business.
And all in favor of the change to the agenda?
And accepting the consent agenda.
Oh, yeah, first we have to accept. First we have to accept the change to the consent agenda. Does anybody want to make a motion to accept it?
I'll make a motion that we accept the change, so noted.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Now we can approve the consent agenda. And I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion.
And I'll-
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to bills for payment.
So you'll see you have 3 of them. July, you have the ones that came in after the meeting, which is, so that would be on the first page. And then on the back, second side of that page, you would have the August bills. And then we have your September bills.
Tony, can you explain or kind of give us an analysis of what's going on with Sam's, why that's kind of big?
Yep, that's actually a credit card bill. A lot of it, if you look under the numbers, like, take for example, August, the $1,487.13.
Okay.
That's all football stuff. That's our insurance for the kids. That is footballs and some of the stuff that we ordered for it. In September, the ones there, oh, they're not there yet, sorry. Yes. So the main part of that is, on all of these bills has been football. But, so some of them would be like 727, if you look at your thing, is operating supplies for here. It's $195.43. If you want me to go quote both bills, I can, but okay, that would be the paper and stuff.
Right.
Did I explain it?
Yes.
Okay.
Helpful.
So football, all that one line item? 729?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so you'll see on the September one, there's a $2,000 bill. That's the pants, which will be paid back for, and that's the refurbishing of the helmets. And in the future, you will be on the consent agenda, so, like all the other organizations in the town, so.
Thank you.
Anybody want to make a motion on paying the bills? Or any further questions? I'll move that we pay the bills.
I'll second that. Okay.
Dennerman?
Yes.
Monson?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Oliver?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Warner?
Yes.
Hutchins?
Yes. Move down to the financial report, Mr. Treasurer.
All right, so you'll see this is there's 2 pages, one is July and one is August.
What is the one bill here for, line item 729 or bill 114?
That was the sample hands.
We didn't send them back to give credit?
No, you guys kept them as part of your order. So. They were already here, so it wouldn't make sense to send them. So.
And so everyone knows Frank Muir is the commissioner to our football league. We prepaid for officials as well as player fee at $14.50.
Yeah, Don, we already moved on to that. We're on these pages. They're on the next pages.
I don't know when else that's a big amount.
Yeah. Yeah, it's big now, isn't it?
Any further questions on the financial report?
John, can you give us an idea of expenses on beach repairs? What's,
A lot of that is, our maintenance guys built, but we also replaced, 20 boards, picnic tables, repainted all of the picnic tables and, all of that kind of stuff, so. And then here, we've been repainting the benches and, repairing boards that need to be repaired. And painted all picnic tables here as well.
thank you.
Anybody want to make a motion for accepting the financial report? I'll move that we accept the financial report. All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to old business, football and cheerleading.
Don, you want to report on football?
Football, better than what they expected. Say 22 on the JV, the freshman at 18. Numbers coming in, we just had 2 kids sign up just last week. Had our first game, the JV won the 21-0. I think it was 27, and then the freshman lost 18-7. Haven't had any issues with anything that I know of. I know they did a kids fun day at the high school last week. I was able to attend, but I guess it went well with all the kids. It was fun. And then there was a parade Saturday, the holidays. Again, I wasn't able to attend that football game, but I guess they went well with the ones that are there cheering. Or the flag program was there. Well, the flag program had 17 kids in it. Don't know the various ages on that, 5 through 7. But it seems to be going good. We haven't had any injuries. And kids are learning to have fun. And our instructor will probably try to be here, but he's taking my place right now.
Great. The other thing is, comments I've been hearing when I stopped in is that it feels like family again. Everybody's real happy about that. There's a family that's has some issues, and probably 10 different families have stepped up and out to make sure the kids get all the practices and stuff. And so I think the people who are right are getting asked. So.
Any other questions for football? Let's move on to beach report.
Beach is closed now. William will be there on Sunday to help put stuff away. Still got a dive to get the raft out. Ron called me back and said he'd call me hopefully tomorrow. That's our diver. So we get that last raft out. We'll try to put everything away, prepared or repaired as best as possible so that next year when we pull everything out, it will be a lot easier transition than what it was from last year. So.
Any questions on the beach? Moving on to Jaws.
What happened for 90-degree weather today? You know, we went from the weekend before where it was like 90 and 98% humidity to 59 or 54 degrees. We had between 50 and 60 families show up for it. Most of them sat on shore. It did cost us $350 for the rights to show a movie from 1974. But everybody that was there had a blast. They're like, when can we do it again? We might want to think about next year running some movie nights down there in the summer and doing some kid ones as well. There were, believe it or not, 14 people that got in the water. Plus the 3 lifeguards who were not very happy about getting in the water, but did it cheerfully. Because they just had to stand there, like they said, everything below the water was nice and warm, but everything above the water was freezing. So I bought them hot chocolate and had it delivered to the water courthouse. But it was a great time. I mean, the DDA noticed their inflatables, and we could do it whenever, borrow whenever we wanted and stuff. So it was a cool experiment, and I think it we would have had a lot more people had it been more.
Absolutely.
So.
A lot of compliments on the helicopters, sir. And they got to go in them. The kids really, really like that.
That's good.
Police helicopter and the paramedic helicopter.
Yeah, one of actually, I had golden left her keys in back of the helicopter, and we went back to the county. The same weekend was also Township Day, and, at the last minute, they called me, their bounce houses had backed out. And so I took the Parks bounce house up. Joe luckily did come and help me, because I walked around, talked to our parents, talked to over 100 parents. Our bounce house was never empty. We left the teens in it for a short period of time, and they were like, wow, no one ever lets us do anything fun, thank you, so it was kind of fun.
Also, Ken McKay bought his
His bounce house too.
Both bounce houses were just
Packed.
nice, yeah.
So,
One kid was there, his mother said he was in the bounce houses for 3 hours.
wow.
Back and forth, back and forth.
Actually, Steve's kid was in the bounce house for over 3 hours. He was. So, and actually, I have to say something about the kids in the bounce house, which was really awesome, is we put littler kids in too, and we, announced the little kids were coming in, please be careful bouncing, and the big kids on their own would say, hey, Tony, how about if we stop bouncing and we let the little kids bounce? And they would all stand up and help the little kids stand up and bounce, and it wouldn't take very long, the little kids would sit back down, because all they wanted was the big kids to bounce them. But I was very proud of the kids in Holland.
Awesome.
So,
Okay, let's move on to new business. Executive session in here. We had an executive session, and it was supposed to be called closed door session,
close meeting.
closed meeting, which for years it's been called executive session, and I didn't know any better. So it was that intention that I found out that they changed the wording. We don't have an executive session, closed sessions that much. So I'd like to apologize for that goof. It's hard to keep up on stuff when you're a civilian in parks and recs and stuff. So I stood corrected, and that was my error. So from now on, it's called a closed session until they change it again.
Sure.
Yes.
People have used those terms interchangeably for years, closed session, executive session. I think what's important is that we knew that we were going to a meeting that was not open to the public under the Open Meetings Act, whether you call it executive session or closed session, so I'm not considered that relevant. Closed session is the monitor.
Thank you, Ron. So I stand corrected. Okay, moving on to the change to policies and procedures.
I would like to correct the issue of checks being issued to anyone other than the person to whom they are written to, us to change our policies and procedures to require a signature by either contractor's employee to let anyone else be allowed to pick up their checks. So we need a motion from you guys to change that on both the employee policies as well as our policies.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Well, I'm sorry, I had a question. I guess I didn't understand. What is the exact change that we're?
We're going to require if a check is written by a contractor or to an employee, that they have to, and they want it to be given to, say, their parent or their wife, that they have to sign in advance authorizing the check be given to that person.
Okay, I'm sorry, I just didn't hear that. All right, sorry. Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, anybody opposed, motion carried. Meeting space. Me and Tony's had some meetings with the Township, meeting with George, and George Cullis, and everybody, a lot of the different boards and commissions in the village and the Township go to Richter and Board of Education, because that's where their video is at and stuff. I think us in the library, maybe a few other boards, are the only ones that haven't. So, I talked to George earlier today, and, he's brought up a different alternative besides moving to the Richter. And at this time, I'd like to have George present us the case for a other.
All right, well, thank you. And first of all, I want to thank all the members of the park board. I know as an elected official, a lot of times we get under fire for things, and a lot of times there's misinformation out there, and part of our job is to make sure that we're transparent. And the village and the township board took a move for transparency, and the cameras were installed at Carl Richter so that the meetings could be viewed by people that aren't able to make our meetings, whether they may be working, whether they may be in another function with their kids, whatever the reason may be. And one of the things that we have found since we made that move is that a lot of people are watching these meetings that never come to meetings and didn't see them before. And we know that because number one, we're a small community. And when you walk around this community, when you walk downtown and you go into the stores, people comment on the meeting. And people ask. I've actually had a couple of people that come into the township office, into my office, after the township board meeting with notes that they've taken from watching the meeting and want to get clarified the information on this subject or that and find out more information. So it's a good thing. So when social media had some of the issues that came on in front of everybody for the parks, there are two ways as elected officials we can look at that. You know, I know the initial way is to be frustrated because this information is out there and many of us know that the facts are misconstrued or not what they should appear to be. And one of the things that's important for us as elected officials is that our job is to serve the community and is to have those answers available and oftentimes explain them in terms that people can understand. And I don't know about you on the board, but I know myself after serving on the village council and now with the township, a lot of times there are things that I myself don't understand and have to ferret out the answers and have to make those phone calls. So on this particular topic, that is of the meeting and the question of their health and secrecy and back in the woods and all that stuff, we know they're posted on the website. We have a regular schedule that's posted on an annual basis. The Nature Center's been here for a long time. Unfortunately, it's more of a secret than we would like it to be. It's a nice facility as I stand here this evening. So when I met with Joe and I met with Tony, we talked about the possibility of moving the meetings to Carl Richter. And in the conversation I had with Tony after that, she said, we'd really like to hold it here. We'd like for people to see our facility. And I got thinking about it. We have PEG money. PEG money is money that comes in from Comcast for the contract we have for them to serve our community. And what I would like to do is I'd like to make the suggestion to you that we keep the meetings here, but let's go one step beyond that. What I'd like to do, and I'll take it back to the township board, and I feel fairly confident that they will approve this. I'd like to fund putting the camera and putting the microphones in here so that you can run your meeting on that camera, but here's the better part of that. What I'd like to see us do with that camera is the parks can use it for some other things. When you have a field trip in here, you can have the camera on. Those parents that are at work while their kids here can come home later that night and see the activity. I think there's an opportunity for PSAs, public service announcements. In the spring, you might want to have a public service announcement that says, hey, spring is here, the leaves are coming, this is what poison ivy looks like. Stay away from this, because every year, you know, that's one of the things we have to watch out for. There are other things that you as a park can decide what are important. Talk about the turtles and what do you do if you find them in the road and that kind of stuff. I know Kathleen Martin's all about helping raise monarch butterflies. So those are interesting videos. Watch that chrysalis, you see them pop up. My wife and I had our first little monarch butterfly this year, and my poor wife, not knowing anything about it, pronounced it dead, I think, 4 times before it actually flew away. But, well, she got up in the morning and chrysalis had gone from green to black, and she said, uh-oh, I think he's dead. And then, of course, we jumped on the phone, Kathleen, right across the street. Yeah. And Kathleen said, no, that means it's getting ready to open. So my wife sat there and watched it for a while, and then, as Mother Nature will do, she had to go to the bathroom. When she came back out, we had a butterfly. She said, I missed it, that fast. So, you know, perhaps setting up a camera and filming some of that stuff would be a great opportunity, because the PEG funds that come from Comcast are meant to be educational use. And I think it would be a great opportunity. I talked to Joe earlier, and I said, I think it would be a great opportunity to put the camera here and use it for a lot of things, to bring the parks out in front of the people and give them more information. So that was gonna be my recommendation to you tonight, as you talk about whether you want to move your meetings over there. You mentioned how many groups had moved to Carl Richter. The township and its commissions, the village and its commissions, the school board, media Carl Richter, the library board, the parks board, and the DDA are the only three that haven't moved. And the DDA stayed down in the village because that's the DDA district. And the new parks, of course, are here in the libraries are there. So anyway, that was gonna be my recommendation tonight. If you'd like me to take that presentation. Terry Connell is the person that has created this for the schools. I will go to him and get some quotes and prices. I'll take it to the township board. And I think that would be a great fix for the community as a whole. Because after all, our job is about solutions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. What an opportunity.
And this pay money has been around for years. Back when I was on village council in the 90s, Comcast started it. Now, a lot of people had computers at home or had smart, there were no smartphones, so everybody said, So a lot of that money we never even tapped. But now it's great, because people have awful tight schedules. And while you're making mashed potatoes, you can be watching our meeting or somebody else at home instead of dragging down there and going here, going there. And it shows people their run. It gives them a little bit of education.
Well, I know one of the concerns, and I may have said that, but if I didn't, I can repeat it. If I did, it won't hurt to repeat it. But one of the questions that was asked when we started putting these live was, are people really gonna watch that? Do people really care about that stuff? And I think Terry Kyle's here this evening, and he can tell you, am I correct, we're getting like 800 hits on some of these meetings?
I wish it were that many. On occasion, there are.
On occasion.
That high.
It depends on the topic.
There's typically, there's a couple dozen people, a dozen or two that might watch it while it's streaming, but many others that return to it at their convenience.
Yeah, I know, in Norfolk Fire Authority in Rose Township, and somebody there brought up something they heard in the township on some information on it. So I know it's out there and people are watching it, and that's a good thing. I think that parents of their kids coming for a field trip, to be able to come home from work that night and watch little Billy or little Susie in here interacting with some of the stuff you have, I think it's a great opportunity. So.
And I think it's a very convenient way for the public to get involved locally at their own leisure in their own house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. She was disappointed, to say the least.
Now, we'll move on to.
Also, do you guys want to, I would think you need to make a motion to request you do so.
Oh my gosh, I make a request to make a motion to. Have whatever session we need to have. And for George to take this back, please, and thank you so much for the opportunity. And I'll second that. Great opportunity. I think that being transparent and allowing the public to see what goes on is really important for all of us. I mean, this is only but one step, and we've talked about others, but right, I definitely think people seeing the meetings, because then they can hear what really are the facts.
Right.
When things are talked about. It's not, this isn't out of the way place. If you're not really looking for this park, you might not know it's here for a while and lived in the area for a long time, so. And it is in the woods, but. It is in the woods, kind of. I agree, where nature centers.
I was going to say where nature centers.
Right, so.
We used to be at the beach, so.
Yeah.
Well,
All in favor,
it's a little cold sometimes. It is.
all in favor, signify by saying aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Now, we'll move on to this next one. George, you, on again.
Well, no, actually, that happened because when I saw the agenda and saw that I was on after this meeting space, I called Joe and I said, I really need to be a part of that because I want to bring that. I had much to make a decision before I had an opportunity to present that. So, on the other element, let's discuss some of those issues that are concerns to people, and one of them is the park budget. When the park budget was presented to the township, it was in June. And it was presented like it had been many times before in June. We were told as a board that the director would be there that night, and we got at that meeting, and the director wasn't there. Now I understand, as your director has explained it, that she was ill, and it was someone else's responsibility to fill in. Signals got crossed, whatever the reasons were, it didn't happen. But I want to address the issue of the parks budget and some of the other issues that go on with the parks. And again, I'm here to try to offer some solutions to move forward. In the meeting that I had with Joe and Tony, one of the things we discussed was your budget going forward. The budget for this existing year, that night, if you watch the video, was passed 3-2. And it almost didn't pass. And if you look at the video, you'll see where I hesitate on my vote. And I voted yes, but I voted yes for only one reason. Because there's a problem with your board and a problem with my board and a communication issue and how we arrive at that approved budget, the taxpayers shouldn't be penalized for that. Had we voted that budget down at night, the park wouldn't have had a budget and the beach would have had to close for the 4th of July weekend. And I don't think that's fair to do to our taxpayers. I think the taxpayers have a right for return on their investment, and I think they expect us to figure these things out and work them out. So for that reason and that reason only, I voted yes, because we had some serious questions, we had some serious concerns. What I brought with me tonight are packets to not only address that, you'll find the opening page talks about a new policy that we're going to enact, but I've gone one step further. I've had different park board members say to me over the 2 years that I've been the supervisor, I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do. I'm concerned about this, but how do we check that? I don't know, how do we stop that? How do we look into that? The bottom line is, when there are attacks on the director, whoever the director may be, we need to understand that the director is an employee of the parks, and the director works for the park board. And that director should not have to defend themselves in a public forum. That should come from the board. The same as the employees that I have at the township. They answer to the board. And we as board members, whether it be the township or the park, are the ones that are responsible for that performance. And we need to remember that. What I have in these packets for you tonight, the opening page is talking about the new procedure going forward. Basically what it says, and for the public, let me explain this. The Parks Board is a part of the Township Board's budget. The Township Board chooses to put the millage on the ballot. The Township Board collects the money, and the Township Board disperses the money as directed by the Parks Board. The Parks Act of 1905, I've included that in the packet. The MCL laws that cover how the parks are supposed to function and operate are in the packet as well. I've also included one other thing. There's a page in here that talks about the Michigan Township Association. Somebody asked me not too long ago, they said, it's amazing, you just walked in as supervisor and knew what to do. And I said, no, I knew how to pick up the phone. That was the difference. I've had to ask a ton of questions. And the Michigan Township Association is there for that reason. The township pays a membership due. And it's available to be used by each and every one of you board members on a parks-related issue. If you're not sure of the law, if you're not sure of how clear it is, if you have an issue with the Open Meetings Act, and by the way, I put all the information on the Open Meetings Act from the MCL is in this packet as well. So each of you will have that to look at, to review. If you find something that's not clear to you, because we all interpret things different, the MTA page that's in here, pick that up, call the Michigan Township Association. You'll be able to talk to them. They have a legal counsel there. They will give you information on the law. If you ask them an opinion, they will answer you by saying, you need to check with the township attorney. And understand that the township attorney has the township has an attorney, and anytime the park board is at a point where they have a question for the attorney, call my office. If it's one we can't answer on our level, we can certainly turn it over to the township attorney. So those are some things that are available to you. I don't know if they're available. The other issue that I wanted to address, and this goes to our citizenry, is the fact that there were some comments made about there, well, the Parks Board is packed with the director's friends. We need to address that as a community. This elected board has 7 seats. When you only have 4 people running for 7 seats, which has happened in 2010, I went back and looked at the records, there were only 4 people running. That means at the end of the election, there are 3 seats that have to be filled by law. That means we have to find 3 people from the citizenry that will volunteer to fill it. I think, Kathleen Martin, that's how you ended up on the board, am I correct? So, you know, we have to stop and ask ourselves a question. I know personally, if I have a seat to fill in one of my commissions, I don't directly walk out and ask my enemy. Typically, what I do is ask people that are already involved, that are helping, can you help? So that people understand the procedure for that is that the board notifies the township that there's an empty seat. That seat and that filling of that seat is the responsibility of the township board. Now, a recommendation can come from the director. The Parks Board can look at it and send that recommendation to the township board, but ultimately the responsibility is that of the township board. And our citizens need to understand that if they don't like the way things are going, if they have problems with the way they're going, then they fill out a petition and they run for office. And that's how change is made. That's the beauty of the society, with the republic that we live in. So I wanted to make that clear. Those things are all here in the packets that I brought to you tonight. What I would like you to do is with the opening page, that is going to be my recommendation to the board. It is not cast in stone until the board approves it. What I would like is for you, our meeting is next week. I would like your board members to take a look at that. You'll notice it's typed in double space. If you have any suggestions or requests for change, if you could put them in there, get them back to my office so that I have an opportunity to look it over, so that when I present it to the board next Wednesday night, you'll see that what we're asking for is that you bring the budget to the township during the month of April. We would like a representative for the director, a representative for the board to be there to explain it, to answer questions when we go through it. Your board needs to understand that it is not a rubber stamp. We can approve part or all of the budget. We can disapprove part or all of the budget. But if it comes to us in April, we'll have an opportunity to look at it, ask questions. You will have an opportunity to answer them. It will become a part of our public hearing for the township's budget in May. And after the public hearing in May, the final budget will be presented in June, and the township board will approve it. This way, nobody's back is against the wall. Nobody gets caught blindsided. We have an opportunity to fix things. So that's going to be my recommendation to the board. After you read it, you can let me know through email, leave a message on my phone. If you think it's fine, that's great. If you want to do some changes or there's some concerns you have, please make note, call my office, let me know. All right? And I have copies. Everybody got them? Okay. I do have copies. If anybody in the public would like to see any of this information, it's all public information. I brought some extras for folks. Anyone? Are there any other questions for me? I think I'm all set.
Thank you, George.
Can I just make a statement, just to clarify things first off? We are a member of the MTA as well. The township now requires us to have our own separate membership. And I also would like to point out that the 7 of you are not my closest friends. I think if you asked any one of the people sitting on this board, they were asked to be on the board or chose to run because they were interested and showed interest in the products. Is that for sure?
I think the point I was trying to make was that should never be an issue. The responsibility falls outside that of the director, whether it's you or anybody else.
And actually, I would just see what he does.
That's the biggest thing. I've been in village politics and township politics since 1990. And that's the hardest thing, is to get somebody to, especially when they're working. I'm retired now, so I'm on 3 village boards and 1 township board, because I have the time to dedicate to the community. But a lot of times we didn't have a quorum because we couldn't fill the seats that were there. George did that when he was down in the village and township, just go back.
I wear several hats in town, and the only one I ever had school was this one.
Yeah.
They came to me and you guys just go on the same one.
You were a man of 1,000 hats there for a while. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I think with this, the new media that we have, people will understand what it's all about, because that way they can watch 5 or 6 movies and go, hey, I know what this is about now, watch meetings and go, okay, there's things you gotta do in the meeting, there's protocol and everything else. That's what I scared people to speak in public office. It's tough to fill the boards. It's tough to get volunteers to do anything, besides sit on boards. So, that's why I think this is a great endeavor in the communities all over the United States to see the government actually go, hey, that's interesting, I'd like to be on that. And get them out of the house and get down here in a chair. That's what we're looking for, fill the chairs. Okay. Thank you again, George, and we look forward to working in the close with the township and getting that line with everybody else and the village.
I think it serves the taxpayers when we can work together, when we can find solutions for problems. And I applaud you for taking the changes to create the agenda for tonight and to make the other moves. That you brought up that closed meeting, that there were questions about whether or not, and I want to mention one other thing for you to think about, is because we do get a lot of questions and a lot of complaints in the township office for the parks. As you know, people don't always understand. My first line of response is township parks is a separate board. You have to go to the township parks. A lot of people take complaint one step further, whether the complaints with the director, with the parks in general. Please, I have enough to do in the daytime. I don't need to sit and explain parks and try to deal with the complaints that come in the parks. I have a recording on my phone right now from a woman that was very upset. Left no name, no phone number. I've left it on my phone. If any of you want to stop and listen to it, you're welcome to. I've left it there because if she ever comes in and says, I called you and you never called me back, I'll be able to say, well, didn't know who you were. But my point is, find a way for people to make complaints. Don't put the burden on the director, whoever the director may be. Find a way that people can file complaints. Maybe the board has a committee to deal with complaints. Maybe there's a log that says complaints came in. Here's how we respond to them. Make it a way. Because if I'm mad at one individual, it doesn't do me any good to call that individual a complaint. And as a board, I think you need to know what those issues are out there. And I think if you come up with a way that people can file their complaints, and it gets it out of my office, I'll be really happy. All right, thank you.
Thanks again, George. Let's move on to propane purchase.
Hamilton Propane, we have our propane through, every year offers a pre-buy program. This year they got their cards out late and it ends the end of this month. They are offering us the opportunity to pre-buy our propane at $1.59 a gallon, which is the cheapest pre-buy we've ever had.
What is it normally running?
It can go anywhere from, last year it was I think $1.89 a gallon. And we did well on it because it went up, typically goes up in the, so what we're doing is we're buying it at today's price or tomorrow. And most years we bought it, one year it was like $2.29 and we chose not to buy it because it came down to $1.89, which was lucky. But at this price, I think it would be foolish of us to pass it up. Last year we pre-bought 1,500 gallons. We used 1,420. How's that? Which leaves us with a balance of $110 in our account there. So I would recommend, because we don't know how cold or whatever the winter will be, that we once again buy 1,500 gallons of propane, which will cost us $2,274.50.
And that's just for.
That heats this building, and Hamilton has been really good to us. They actually fill our propane more often than they fill everybody else's propane, because one year the company before us would just fill it willy-nilly and we run out of propane and the turtles don't like it. They complain to me, they call me, no, I'm just kidding. So I would recommend that we go ahead and pre-buy our.
I'm gonna make a motion that we go ahead and pre-buy.
Oh,
From Hamilton, you said?
Yep. So that would be Moxie,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Oliver,
Yes.
Martin. Yep. Warner. Yes. Hutchins.
Yes.
And then.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we're so far off the main road, it costs too much to run natural gas connection. That's why we're kind of stuck with propane. a lot cheaper fuel. So that's the reason why they don't have natural gas. Okay. Moving on to public comment. Would anybody like to speak? Oh, members of the public to address the board once recognized by the chairperson. Comments are limited to a maximum of 4 minutes. The board may extend at this time by up to additional 4 minutes by the majority vote of the board. Prior to addressing the board, members of the public shall clearly state their name for the record. Would anybody like to speak in public tonight?
I don't know if anybody else is on.
Is it simply name or name and address? The other thing says it name and address.
Typically name and
That's true.
I don't know where I'm supposed to stand here, but.
Anywhere you feel comfortable. We don't have a microphone.
Well, by the door, so I can run on them.
Now, come on up. Yeah.
Doesn't want to see my face.
Oh, yeah.
Tony Engelberg, 115 Cogswell. Usually I come with some prepared comments tonight. I didn't because I didn't know how this meeting was going to go. So a few random things. First of all, on JAWS, I think you guys would have gotten greater attendance had you not gone up against probably the largest crowd you were going to have for a football game all season between the youth nights. So going forward, I believe the schedule for football comes out probably, they try and do it at least a year. So there shouldn't be a problem coming up with non-conflicted dates. I had thought Saturday night would have actually been better because Saturday night at the festival, you have bands, but that's not really family friendly for kids. There's a beer tent there and all that sort of thing. It would have given families an option. One of the things as a high school football coach, we tell our kids, when you make a mistake, you learn from it and you fix it. What I've seen tonight are some steps towards that. Getting you guys out of the woods, at least onto the camera, is a big step. Changing your check procedures so we don't have questions about check forgery is a big step. But I gotta talk about this budget that you guys submitted to the Township Parks for, or Township Board for approval. Because this has been boiling at me for months. You guys taken $140,000 of tax money, according to this, and I'm just going off the budget. 121,360 of that 140,000 goes to pay a director, staff, which is her daughter, and the benefits and perks that go along with that. That's unacceptable. When you look further down in the budget, and there's only $100 budgeted for park improvements, and less than $5,000 budgeted for park repairs. You guys put on a JAWS movie and charge people. When you're taking in 140 grand in tax money, you guys couldn't make that event free. When you're spending $121,000 on a director to run 2 parks and her daughter, unacceptable. Just isn't. You guys gave the director a $3,000 raise to run the football, $3,000 or $4,000. I've heard 2 different numbers. To run the football program. That program is now being run by, I believe, Mr. Dan Kochman. I don't believe he's getting paid. So why is that money still going there? Okay. And I've got a big question, and Joe, I'm going to call you out on this because when we met with George, these questions at the previous meeting would get answers. I've asked them, and so far they have not. So I'm going to ask the question on the record, and you guys can sit here and ignore it or not. When you guys entered into an agreement with the village so that the director would work with Power at the community center, 20% of community center revenue was being paid directly from the village to this board. Here is your revenue line items. That money is not accounted for. And that has been going on now for 2 years. When you have a government-to-government transaction, that money needs to be clearly defined and lined out, not only where it's coming in from, but where the money is going to. And I understand why George and the Township Board approved that budget 2 months ago, but they should not have, because there were too many unanswered questions. So I'm going to ask the question, where is that 20%? And where is it going? And I'm hoping, if you need time to get the answer, you don't have to find it. That's all.
Thank you. Any further comments from the public?
Genevieve Rainey, 134 Park Avenue. So I just wanted to reiterate a little bit of what Tony said. My husband is Eric Gamble. He was the person, one Gamble, along with Diane, that were here at the last meeting. And apparently he was supposed to get in writing or a phone call answers to the questions that he had asked. We have not gotten any answers to any of the questions that were asked last time. So, you know, it'd be nice to have those answers. And I also was just curious to know what exactly is the explanation that, Joe, you have for the checks? Because when, I'm not sure if it's your son or your stepson, comes out in public and says, these checks are being forged in my name, to not answer that, to not clarify that, you're doing the same thing that this board has done, where it's hiding and avoiding versus being transparent and explaining. When you hide from people, it makes you look more suspicious, it makes you look more guilty. You need to realize that if you have nothing, if you've done nothing wrong, then you have nothing, you need to be transparent. Because right now, you have to think about the fact that parks is about optics. Parks is about community. And when you are so oblivious, this whole board seems very oblivious to your optics, you're gonna see a fall in your revenue, you're gonna see a fall in attendance in all across all the parks. So that's my comment.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Any other further questions or comments to the public? Yes.
Pat Feeney, 210 Franklin Street. I'm the Township Board, and I was one that voted against the budget. Now, quite frankly, you know, George and a couple of other people, gratitude there, thanks, because I had no intention of that. That was a ridiculous budget put in front of us. $100. I can spend $100 in my front yard, cleaning my front yard up there in the summertime. That's absurd. But saying that, we do have the option, as George would point out, you can always make budgetary changes during the year. That's up to the board, you can do that. And I think that's something you might consider, because that was a slap at the taxpayers. That really was. And quite frankly, if it weren't for George, Karen, and Steve, you would not have been open before. And quite frankly, I knew that. And I was very angry. You know, I'll be honest with you. If the budget looked like a decent budget, I could have gotten past that. But it didn't. It was a ridiculous budget as far as I'm concerned. Not for the amount of money that's collected. I was totally outraged at that. Like I said, if it was, you know, a decent budget, I would have gladly go along with George and then saying this is an issue that can be taken care of later on, and not to punish the taxpayers. I think George's proposal, that's one thing, anybody in Georgia will agree, we don't always agree on things, but some of the things that he suggested I strongly support. What he's going to put in front of the board, he's talked about, and I think it's absolutely needs to be done that way. And one very, very key thing, it's a very simple thing, is have someone answer your phone, plain and simple. You know, if you want me to go back through, I can show you what I've tried to contact in different programs, calling you day after day. And you say, well, leave a message in it. It shouldn't be. With that kind of budget, we should have someone here for at least a certain number of hours to answer a phone. You start doing that, George will start getting less complaints. You'll have happier people too. And like I said, I'm hoping that the board accepts it, which I think they will, with the new setup. And I think the budget going forward, that's great. But that doesn't guarantee that I'll vote for it. If I see another budget that ridiculous, it's not going to happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Well, seeing none or hearing none, meeting is adjourned.
Actually, we were supposed to, somehow, still talking to you, we were supposed to have Well, I just can't change it this time. Can we answer a couple of their questions?
I don't see what it is.
Okay, I unadjourned the meeting. Yeah, we didn't vote on anything.
To answer your question as to how, I don't have a phone number, the phone number wasn't listed on the thing last week, but it is posted,
Facebook, Eric Campbell.
it is posted on our website. There's a sheet that says questions asked at meetings. You can click on it and they are answered, every one of them. I'll give you a copy of the copy before you leave. My daughter is not a salaried employee. She holds a position that has been held by college students for the last 7 years. She's worked her way up through the Parks Department. This board approved her appointment, or me hiring her because to avoid nepotism. That's what other questions were asked.
20%?
Oh, yeah, that money goes in under special events, and it's where Karen Winchester told me to put it. When she was running our budget this is our first year running the budget, it told me if you would like to go to the village and ask to see the back of the checks, you will see that they are all deposited into the township park account.
Tony, could you tell us how much that was?
I can roughly tell you that I think last year it was, I can't, I think it was $4,000 or $5,000. So I can give that information to you. I don't have it at the top of my head. But
I will tell you this, just so that you guys have the information. The number one complaint is the phone, not getting calls back, or the answers they get on the phone. That's the number one complaint we get. The other complaints we get are random, and they tend to go with the season, whether it's a flood of complaints over the football program at one time, whether it's a flood. I'll tell you one of the biggest questions that people ask in the spring. We have a lot of young families who live in Holly. They want to know why the park can't be open before school is out. And I know that.
The beach.
I'm sorry, the beach.
Okay, just
Thank you. No, they want to know why the beach can't be open for school is out. I know I had talked to Tony back then, the answer was because of the lifeguards. And a lot of the parents say, but Kensington and the other beaches open, they just boast that they don't have a lifeguard. So maybe it's something we want to look at and see if that's possible, because what some of those mothers did say to me was, I would really love to go to the park, it was warm. I'd love to go to the park with my 3-year-old when the big kids aren't there. So, let us be cognizant of young families moving to town, and a lot of these babies, I don't think they have sidewalks in front of their house. We see this strollers all the time, and so those are some of the complaints that come in. And I'll tell you again, my first line is always, the parks is a separate board. You have to take it to the parks, because then when somebody says to me, what good does it do when I'm complaining to the person I'm mad at? And that's not the responsibility of the director. That's why I'm asking you, find an alternative way for these shepherds to come to the board.
regarding the bench, I think was another issue.
yeah, it got fixed immediately, right?
Yeah.
And the way, and just to explain that further, we sit down at the beginning of the year, we have to go, we make a list of all of where things need to go, why there wasn't much money in this, because we had a lot of repairs that were supposed to have been done the year before, and our maintenance man told me they were done at the end of the year, and they weren't when we pulled the stuff out. And so we prioritize our list. My maintenance guy works on the list, goes down the list. That bench wasn't a priority compared to the 20 picnic table boards that we're cracking in half at the beach. So, and if you call and speak to me, I will call you back. There is someone in my office 5 days a week at this point in time that answers the phone. And as soon as I knew what the problem was, I took care of it the next day. So
There are also calls about village parks, state parks, because Holly Township parks,
Right.
parks is parks. So should those start explaining the problems at the park they're at, and we inform them that that's not their park. So a lot of it's misdirection here and there, but we end up directing them to the right place. Say, call village, call the state. We can't do nothing about it.
Maybe your message on your phone should say, this number is for Sorensen Park and Holly Township Beach.
It says, yeah, it says you've reached Holly Township Parks and Recreation.
But I mean,
And I get people that say, I'm calling about my campground reservation.
so like if you name the park in the message,
Okay,
that helps.
good idea, Linda, I will change the message tomorrow morning.
Right.
Not that they know where they are, but.
I can only hope.
Does anyone else have anything else on that?
There was a question about the $100 for park improvements. Did somebody bring that up?
Yeah, just said, yeah, she did, yes.
Okay.
I explained that most of our money went to repairs this year, and that's why there was less there. However, next year, we've already talked about after having gone to lifeguard training, there's gonna be a bunch of money that needs to be spent at the beach, so.
Mouse sticks went right by our feet.
Oh, wow, sweet, and that's nature for you. Which way did he go? Did he go to my office?
Behind the green thing. Behind the green thing? Yeah, all right. Sorry, I was green.
Joe, if I could, one last thing, Joey, thank you for bringing up the use of the word training. And I wanted to mention to you, after this election, one of the things I've done with the township is I have altered the budget, that I include planning commission, they are now required to take one planning commission course a year. We've budgeted for that. I think education is important. One of the things that your board can do is newly elected officials, right after November, Michigan Township Association, the Michigan Municipal League, a couple of law firms across the state, Fahey, you and I went to that one.
Very good.
Foster Swift, they have a whole day session for newly elected officials. I strongly suggest that you offer that to your new elected officials and any of the other people that are on the board that have never been. They go through a whole day, they give examples of things that have gone wrong. They give an example of how to correct things, how to get through things. They give you examples of things to watch for. So it might be that your board adopt that as a policy, put it in your budget, and when you have a newly elected chair, or when you have somebody come and fill a chair, they're not always available in the middle of a term, unfortunately, but target them for those because they're valuable. Thank you.
Thanks, George, I think it's awesome.
My name is Steve Richard. I just was talking about the beach, and I was thinking when I was a kid, wasn't it open on the weekend? Before school got out?
Not in the last 28 years.
Are you sure?
I'm positive, I've been here.
Open to be open on the weekends?
That's a possibility, if the board would like.
Because I could swear when I was a kid, we used to go on the weekends, it was open, and they were there, Memorial Day weekend, and then until school got out, it would be open on the weekends.
The other issue you're gonna have, as far as weekends, to be perfectly honest, is Bush Lake is a spring-fed lake. And
Spring what?
spring-fed lake, so it's cold.
Early.
So trying to put rafts out there in May and put our ropes and stuff in is very, sometimes even in June, it's very, very cold.
Right behind those rafts is a 40-foot hole, it's one of the deepest holes in Bush Lake, right behind the rafts.
And then another question was, is the Parks Department charging the pools anymore?
No.
No. Does any position held with the parks get paid for that?
Not anymore, no.
No. Been taken out.
What?
I was told, I'm asking, it does, so do you get paid for running the pools?
No.
No. Okay.
I got a line.
Okay, now I guess I can adjourn the meeting. Like, thank everybody for coming in.
Yeah.